You want to speak English fluently, but every time you try, you stop yourself. You're afraid of sounding stupid, of making a mistake, of not being perfect. Sound familiar? By the end of this video, you'll learn how to stop perfectionism from holding you back and start speaking English with confidence. Now, don't worry, I'm not going to say relax, be positive, and you can achieve anything. We still have high standards. We're going to break this down into 3 simple steps. 1, changing your attitude towards mistakes. 2, I'll share the ready to speak rule. And 3, a speaking challenge that you can practice on your own to build fluency fast. Now, perfectionism is real. Most people are perfectionists. One study found that 78% of people are perfectionists. That's why it's a cliche response to the dreaded job interview question. What's your greatest weakness? Weaknesses? Me? Not really. Maybe my perfectionism. Yeah, don't say that, because perfectionism isn't really a weakness. It's a positive thing, isn't it? Think about the alternative. I'm not a perfectionist means I don't care. These people are happy to speak freely, no stress, no anxiety, relaxed, but they don't care about mistakes, so they don't improve. That doesn't sound very good to me. So is your perfectionism a problem for your English? Well, maybe. You see, perfectionism is on a spectrum, and if you're a serious perfectionist, it could be what is killing your English. Now, have you seen a graph like this before? It's called a bell curve because it's shaped like a bell. And over on this side, we have the 22% of people who are non-perfectionists, speaking freely, but maybe with a lot of mistakes. But if you click this video, and if you're anything like me, you're probably more over towards the red end of the spectrum. The traits of the extreme perfectionist: fear of making mistakes, overthinking and procrastination, high anxiety, low confidence. That doesn't sound very good, does it? Here's the impact on language learning. Avoid speaking due to fear of mistakes, slow progress due to hesitation and stress, high risk of burnout and giving up. Does any of that sound familiar? You might have noticed this green area in the middle, adaptive perfectionists. So if you're over here, we need to move you more that way and make you more adaptive. These people have high personal standards, but low levels of self-criticism. They strive for excellence, but without excessive stress or fear of failure. The traits of the adaptive perfectionist: set high but realistic goals, motivated by self-improvement, not fear, view mistakes as learning opportunities, have high achievement and low anxiety. When it comes to learning English, the adaptive perfectionist gets the best results because they're more likely to practice speaking frequently without the fear of making mistakes. Sound good? Here's how we get there. Step 1, change your attitude towards mistakes. First, we need to understand that in language learning, perfectionism is real, but perfection is a myth. You could study every day for the rest of your life and still not learn every word. You actually get pretty good at English if you studied every day. But you're trying to be perfect, and perfection isn't available. So we want it as good as possible, or just good enough to communicate, because it's all about communication, isn't it? I'm not saying just relax and a positive attitude will fix your mistakes. I'm saying that the best way to improve your quality and to make fewer mistakes is to make mistakes. Quantity leads to quality. Quantity of mistakes, quantity of practice leads to quality production. And you know this, you've heard it millions of times. Make lots of mistakes, it's the best way to learn. But it's easier said than done. I'm guilty of it. I get self-conscious when I'm speaking Spanish. It didn't happen so much when I was a beginner. I think beginners are expected to make a load of mistakes. Beginners make mistakes all the time, so that's okay. But I found the more advanced my level gets, the worse the fear of making mistakes. Because then I've got that reputation of being really good at Spanish and, oh no, I've got to be perfect. Do you find that? I mean, your English has got to be pretty good if you can understand this video. But to advance, we've got to keep making those mistakes like a complete beginner. The adaptive perfectionist makes mistakes all day long. Prolific language learner and famous polyglot Benny Lewis explained in a blog post, I go out of my way to make at least 200 mistakes a day. This way, I know I'm truly using and practicing the language. That's a lot of mistakes. That's talking all day long and making continuous mistakes. And that's his goal. So start celebrating your mistakes. Every time you mess it up, you can say, yeah, I just learned something new. What's one mistake you've made in English recently? Drop it in the comments below and let's celebrate our mistakes together. The more embarrassing, the better. Step 2, the ready to speak rule, aka the good enough is good enough rule, aka the 80% rule. As perfectionists, we won't speak unless we feel 100% ready. But here's a secret. 80% is more than enough. If people understand you, you're succeeding. And confidence beats perfection. So here's your actionable tip. If you feel that hesitation before you're about to speak, then ask yourself, is this 80% clear? If yes, go for it. If I hadn't went out, I wouldn't have met him. Is it 100% correct? No. Is it about 80% there so that I can understand? Absolutely. I know what you mean. We noticed that it wasn't quite right, so we can fix it later. Or you can fix it for me. Leave a comment. And if you're feeling nervous and can't find the words to use, if good enough is good enough, the 80% rule. Step 3, this is your speaking challenge. Speak first, fix later. Serious perfectionists try to fix every word while speaking, but real fluency happens when you speak first and correct later. Try this. Record yourself speaking about your day for 1 whole minute. No stopping, no correcting. Just keep going. Then listen back and fix the mistakes. Do this daily and I promise you, your fluency will explode. I made a video not only explaining this, but showing you how to do it. And I make a lot of mistakes. So very embarrassing for me and very entertaining for you. So here it is if you want to give it a try.